Good morning, everyone. First of all, very happy Onam to all of you. And here, my prayers are with those who have affected by flood in Kerala. Let's hope for speedy recovery and development of all those who are affected. Starting today with the session on simple and compound interest, right? This session I'll be covering over a span of three topics, three video sessions. The first we'll be looking at the concepts of simple interest. In the second session, I'll be covering the concepts of compound interest, and in the third session, we'll take advanced problems and discuss some of the shortcut techniques for the topic of compound interest. In the 10 questions, 10 to 12 questions which come in the prelims part of the IBPS examination, 1 to 2 questions can be from simple or compound interest, right? More questions come from simple interest than compound interest, as I have seen in the pattern from the last 4-5 years. Okay. So before we see, let's understand the goals for this session today. First is to understand the concept of interest. What is interest? What is the meaning of interest? Also to understand the concept of simple interest, learn the different formulas and techniques to solve questions, and obviously to do that through discussion of problems and see how to apply some of the quick techniques in solving questions, right? So wherever important formulas come, you need to note it down and write it down, and always try solving questions using these direct formulas so that you can save time in the exam. Okay? Now, so to start with, what is interest? Now see, the concept of interest goes with the concept of banking, right? When banks started hundreds and hundreds of years ago, you can say, the ideal meaning of a bank was to safeguard money. And instead of keeping money in their homes, which was unsafe because proper concept of security and a system of policing was not there, right? तो जब पुलिस नहीं था और कोई प्रॉपर सिस्टम नहीं था, तो लोगों के पास घर में पैसा रखना थोड़ा डेंजरस था. That is why they would keep money or their precious items in a bank. Later on, using the money deposited by the investors, the depositors in the bank started giving loans and started earning money out of those loans and then sharing that with their customers or depositors, right? That is how the concept of interest comes. The concept of interest itself is the idea of money growing and not being stagnant. So today if I take 1 lakh rupees and I put it in a locker in my home and keep it locked, right? And if I open the locker after a period of 1 year, what will happen? Will that 1 lakh rupees grow? Will it become 1 lakh 5,000 or 1 lakh 6,000, or will it remain 1 lakh only? ठीक है, तो आप 1 लाख को लॉकर में बंद कर दो, वो 1 ही लाख रहेगा after 1 year, right? In fact, if you see, because of inflation, that is the product of goods and services going up, that 1 lakh purchasing power will actually decrease. Clear? So something that is 1 lakh today, I might have to pay a little bit more than 1 lakh after a year. So the purchasing power is decreasing. That is why it is very important for money to grow. Clear? Let's understand how this entire concept of interest comes into banking. Let's start from the concept of Reserve Bank of India. Now Reserve Bank of India is the central bank of our country, and it is the bank to all banks. So banks borrow, we borrow money from banks. How do banks get money from? Apart from the depositors, banks take money from Reserve Bank of India. Clear? And when banks take money from Reserve Bank of India, Reserve Bank charges an interest on that money. What is that interest called? Now this could be a GK question also for you, right? So that interest is called repo rate. So repo rate is the rate at which banks give, Reserve Bank of India gives money to the banks, the commercial, the scheduled banks in our country. Clear? Now, what is the current repo rate? How many of you know the current repo rate? The repo rate right now is 6.5%. So for students who are looking at banking examinations, must be aware of all the important rates that are there from Reserve Bank of India, like repo rate, reverse repo rate, and so forth, which we will be discussing in detail in the banking awareness class through HashLearn, right? Now the current repo rate is 6.5%. So when banks borrow money from RBI, RBI charges them 6.5% interest. So obviously if banks will give money to you, they will charge you more than the repo rate or less than repo rate. They will charge you more than the repo rate, because banks want to be in business, they want to make profit. So they charge you more than 6.5%. Let's say a home loan is 10%, or personal loan can be up to 15%. Similarly, when you deposit money in a bank, the bank will pay you interest based on what type of deposit you have. If you have a savings deposit, the interest is 4% around, and if it is a fixed deposit, also called term deposit, then it is around 6.5 to 6.7%. The idea here is that the concept of the current economy, in the modern economy, the capitalistic economy runs around the concept of interest, where money does not remain stagnant. The value of money grows. The money earns or creates extra money, and this extra money, the surplus money that is created, is what is called as interest. Clear? So our interest must lie on interest. So what happens is that after a particular point of time, you get a certain amount. So you deposit some money in a bank, and at the end of the period, the bank pays you an interest. So the formula that goes with all questions of interest, whether it is simple interest or compound interest, is that amount is equal to principal plus interest. So this principal, what is this principal? The principal is our initial deposit, what we are depositing in the bank, or the amount that we are giving as a loan to someone, or the amount that we are borrowing from someone. That initial amount is called the principal. The interest here is the surplus amount generated from the money that you have, the surplus amount that either you will get if you have given money to someone, or you have to pay if you have taken money from someone, and when you add these two, that is what is our amount. So this formula will be a common formula for all questions on simple and compound interest. This amount here is the final amount. Something very simple to understand, that let's say we take 10,000 rupees and we deposit in a bank. The bank is paying at 4% interest. So what is 4% of 10,000 rupees? It is 400 rupees. So at the end of 1 year, the bank will pay us 10,000 rupees plus 400 rupees. So the amount that I will be getting will be 10,400 rupees. Based on how many years I keep that money with banks, and the concept of how does the bank calculate interest, whether the bank is calculating interest at simple interest or compound interest, that will decide how much interest I will get after a certain period of time. Clear? So first of all, what we have understood here is the concept of interest itself, right? Interest is the surplus amount generated from money. I hope this point is clear to all of you, correct? Now let's start with the concept of simple interest. What is simple interest? I will start by explaining this concept by taking a case. Let's say that you take rupees 100 rupees, and you deposit in a bank, and the bank is paying you 10% interest per annum, PA, interest per annum, and let's say you keep this money in the bank for 3 years. So how will interest be calculated over the period of 3 years? So we will break it down and see one by one. Let's start with the first year. In the first year, how much interest you will get? Now the rate of interest is 10%, so 10%, 10 by 100 of the principal. What is your principal here? 100. So 10% of 100, you are going to get 10 rupees interest in the first year. Please observe this very carefully and understand simple interest from a fundamental way, from the basics. Now second year, just a moment, we just have to restart the PowerPoint presentation. Just a moment, give me 10 seconds. All right, so let's just a small pause here. Okay, so we have taken 100 rupees and we are calculating at 10% per annum the rate and 3 years. So let's just start again and see for the first year. For the first year we are calculating 10% of 100 rupees. So we are calculating 10%, 10% is our rate here, and 100 rupees is the principal, so the interest earned is 10 rupees. So we are breaking it down in a very simple way. Normally this is not how you will see it in books. So once you understand the basic concept, you are not going to forget it. Okay. Second year we will again calculate 10% of 100 rupees. Now see here, this is what is very important. Remember that in simple interest we are not adding the interest to the principal. This 10 rupees is my interest for the first year, correct? Interest for the first year. Now am I adding this to the principal? No. If I add it to the principal, it will become compound interest. So here the principal remains same. The principal is 100 rupees itself, and the interest earned in the second year is again 10 rupees. So very important to note here that interest remains constant. Interest remains constant every year. In the case of simple interest, interest remains constant, the principal remains constant. Clear? So every year the interest earned will be same. So third year again, if I calculate here, what is the interest? So 10% of 100 rupees. So again we are not adding the interest earned in the previous years. So now total interest is how much? Total interest is equal to 30 rupees, 10 rupees in the first year, 10 rupees in the second year, and 10 rupees in the third year. So what is the total interest? 30 rupees. So we can say this total interest is nothing but 3 times 10% 100, we are calculating for each year, right? 3 times 10% of 100, because 10% of 100 is nothing but 10 rupees. 3 times 10% of 100, which is equal to 30 rupees. Here 3 is the number of years, 10 is the rate percent, and 100 is your principal. That is how we say excuse me, that simple interest is equal to, what is the formula? P into T into R by 100. This formula of simple interest even Varun Dhawan knows, right? We have seen his movie, no? Badrinath Ki Dulhaniya. He was learning the formula of simple interest. Somehow he learned simple interest but did not learn the formula of compound interest. So very important formula, simple interest is equal to principal into time into rate by 100. And this is the formula. Now see how it has been derived, how it has come, that also we have seen here. So this is the first formula that you should note down. SI here stands for simple interest. Simple interest. P is the principal value. P is what? What is P here? Principal. T is the time period, and R is the rate percent. The simple interest is equal to P into T into R by 100, a commonly known formula. And then we will see what all additional formulas you need to know, because this formula alone will not going to solve problems for you in the exam. All questions of simple interest can be solved by this problem, but the time taken while solving some complex problems might be more if you depend only on this formula, which is why we will learn better ways and faster techniques of solving questions. See, throughout our discussion with you, my discussion with you, you have seen that I am always focusing on speed techniques, faster method. Exam में time नहीं होता है. Prelims level में आप देखो 100 questions are there and only we have 60 minutes और sectional time limit है इस साल से. तो सिर्फ आपको 20 मिनट मिलेंगे मैथ सेक्शन करने के लिए और क्वेश्चंस होते हैं 35 और ओवरऑल कट ऑफ भी आजकल ज़्यादा हो गया है। SBI PO का कट ऑफ अराउंड 57 मार्क्स था, तो आपको टारगेट करना है 20 मिनट में 30 क्वेश्चन करना है। तो उसके लिए आपको एक क्वेश्चन 30 सेकंड्स के अंदर सॉल्व करना होगा और वो सिंपल फार्मूला से नहीं होगा। इट विल नॉट बी पॉसिबल थ्रू simple formulas. That is why we'll now see what else we need to know, what are the better formulas for simple interest. First of all, we'll take a basic question. If the simple interest on a sum of money for 3 years at 10% rate of interest per annum is 3600. So at what rate percent? 10%. What is the principal? We have to find out the principal here. What is given to us? Simple interest is given to you. Simple interest is 3600 and time is 3 years and rate percent is 10%. What is the principal? So we know simple interest is equal to principal into time into rate by 100. Correct? This is the formula. Simple interest is given to you, so let's cancel the zeros here. 3 will cancel 36 12 times, 1200 cross multiply, principal is equal to how much? 12,000. So very simple case, a very simple question for you just to understand how do we apply the formula of simple interest. Which formula I have used here? Just now I have discussed with you. Simple interest is equal to PTR by 100, where P is equal to principal, T is equal to time and R is equal to rate percent. Let's move to the next question. A sum of money deposited at 10% simple rate of interest amounts to rupees 2880 in 2 years. Find the principal. So can you calculate and post the answer in the comment section? A sum of money deposited at 10%. What is the rate percent here? Rate percent is 10% per annum. What is the time period here? Time is 2 years. 2 years, and what is given to you? A sum of money deposited at 10% simple rate of interest amounts to. So what is this 2880? This 2880 is your amount, not your principal. It is not the simple interest. What is it? It is the amount. Amount is 2880, and what we have to find out is the principal. So how will you find out principal from amount? Okay, let's see. We don't know what is simple interest, so first let's calculate simple interest, and we don't know what is P, so let principal be equal to P itself. So P into T, that is 2 years, into rate, that is 10% by 100. So cancel zeros, 2 will cancel 10 5 times, so we can say that simple interest is equal to P by 5. Now in the beginning of the class itself we have seen that amount is equal to principal plus interest. So we will say amount is equal to principal. Now principal is P, and what is our interest here? P by 5. That is equal to 6P by 5, correct? 6P by 5, and we know that amount is 2880. So principal is equal to 5 into 2880 divided by 6. So 6 will cancel this 480 times, and 5 into 480 is how much? 5 into 00, 5 into 840, 4 in hand. So what is our principal? 2400 rupees. So the question they are asking us, what is the principal? The answer is 2400 rupees. Now but are we going to use this method? Because in this method we have 3-4 steps that are required in solving the question, and I don't believe that is the best way of going about this question in the exam. So I will give you a direct method of solving this question. Let's see here how to find out amount, principal from amount directly. Note down this very important formula. Principal is equal to 100 into amount by 100 plus RT, where R is the rate percent, T is the time period. Direct formula of finding out principal from amount if rate and time are given to you. Very important for you here. Okay. Now see here how we will calculate 100 into 2880 by 100 plus what is rate percent here? 10. What is time? 220. So 288,000 by 120, cancel zeros and divide, you will get 2400. So that is the advantage that you have when you know this direct formula. हर क्वेश्चन के लिए डायरेक्ट फार्मूला क्या है या फास्टेस्ट टेक्निक क्या है वो पता होना बहुत ज़रूरी है आपको, if you want to crack this year's IBPS prelims exam or for that matter any banking exam, right? The competition is higher and you cannot just depend on basic formula. So please note down this formula and write it down somewhere. What is this formula for? Example question is there for you on the screen. Finding out principal from amount directly. एक step में कैसे calculate करेंगे? Principal amount दिया हुआ हो, अगर amount दिया हुआ हो और rate और time भी पता हो तो प्रिंसिपल कैसे कैलकुलेट करेंगे एक स्टेप में, वो आप देखिए और नोट कर लीजिए. ओके, नाउ लेट्स सी अनदर क्वेश्चन. आई होप यू हैव नोटेड डाउन दिस फॉर्मूला. लेट्स सी अनदर क्वेश्चन फ्रॉम सिंपल इंटरेस्ट. नाउ अ सम ऑफ मनी at simple interest becomes rupees 5000 at the end of 3 years. तो पैसा डिपॉजिट कर रहे हैं, वो 3 साल के बाद में क्या अमाउंट हो रहा है, क्या अमाउंट बनता है? 5000. अमाउंट है 5000, सिंपल इंटरेस्ट नहीं है. इट अमाउंट्स टू अ सम ऑफ मनी एट सिंपल इंटरेस्ट बिकम्स, और वी कैन से अमाउंट्स टू rupees 5000 at the end of 3 years and rupees 5200 at the end of 4 years. What is the principal? प्रिंसिपल कितना है वो आपको देखना है. तो आप इसको देखो यहाँ पे, understand this, very simple. We are not going to use the formula of simple interest PTR by 100. Just by understanding the logic, understanding the concept, will solve. 3 years. At the end of 3 years, the amount was 5000. At the end of 4 years, मतलब एक साल के बाद, after 1 year, the amount became 5200. So why did the amount increase? ये increase क्यों हुआ है? 5000 5200 कैसे बन गया? How did it increase by 200? What is the difference here? 200. That means additional interest of 200 was earned in 1 year. 3 years and 4 years difference is how many years? 1 year. So in 1 year how much we have got? 200 extra. That means interest per year. Interest per year is equal to 200 rupees. Very, very simple and easy to understand. Interest per year is how much? 200 rupees. Now let's see that, let's calculate for this case that after 3 years it has become 5000 and I know that interest per year is 200. So in 3 years how much interest would be earned? 600 rupees. So we can say that 5000 is equal to, we don't know what is the principal, but we know that the interest earned in 3 years will be 3 into 200, because every year we are getting how much? 200 rupees. So that is equal to, principal is equal to 5000 minus 600, 4400 rupees. That is our principal amount. Remember, if this kind of a question comes, that a sum of money at simple interest amounts to this much after 3 years or 4 years and this much after 5 years or 6 years, you can find out interest you can find out interest per year directly by using this formula, A2 minus A1 upon T2 minus T1, where A1 and A2 are amount after T1 years and T2 years. Interest per year is equal to difference. That is what we have done here. Difference of amount divided by difference of year. Here in this case 200 by 1 is 200, so that's easy. Now simply interest per year, हर साल कितना interest मिल रहा है? Interest per year is equal to A2 minus A1 upon T2 minus T1. ये formula भी simple है, easy है to understand, note कर सकते हैं to find out or solve any such question in the future. Okay, very important and helpful formula. This topic I am covering for you all range of questions that are required. So now is the time for the contest question. There is a question on the screen here. The interest earned on a principal amount deposited for 15 months at 4% per annum is 150 less than the simple interest earned on the same sum for 18 months at 5% per annum. Sum same है. And you have to find out what is the principal. In 15 months at 4%, whatever you will earn is 150 less than same principal being deposited for 18 months at 5%. Formula you know, simple interest is PTR by 100. Solve this question and post the answer in the comment section. Right? Solve this question, read carefully what is the change here, what we should do, and I will be discussing the solution for this question in my next session of simple interest. Okay, that will be on Monday. Now, let's continue with the topic of simple interest and move to the next question. A man deposited rupees 4,000 in bank at 4% per annum simple interest, and he deposited another rupees 2,000 in bank B. तो बैंक A में वो कितना डिपॉजिट कर रहा है 4,000 at what percent 4%, and in bank B he is depositing how much 2,000 at what rate percent 6% per annum, simple rate of interest. Find out the rate of interest for the whole sum. दो अलग अलग बैंक में डिपॉजिट कर रहा है, एक में 4% पर annum उसको मिल रहा है इंटरेस्ट और दूसरे में मिल रहा है 6%. एक में अमाउंट है 4,000 और दूसरे में अमाउंट है 2,000. ओवरऑल ट्रांजैक्शन में टोटल जो उसने 6,000 डिपॉजिट किए हैं, ओवरऑल उसका रेट परसेंट क्या मिल रहा है एज अ एवरेज. फर्स्ट लेट्स कैलकुलेट सिंपल इंटरेस्ट अर्नड फ्रॉम बैंक ए. Simple interest from bank A will be how much? 4,000 is our principal. Time let's take 1 year, right? So we will calculate for 1 year. And what is the percentage rate percent? 4%. Cancel this, you will get 160. And how much simple interest he will earn from bank B at the end of the first year? That we can calculate 2,000. How many years? 1 year. At what percent? 6%. Total interest कितना है 120. So total interest उसको कितना मिल रहा है? What is the total interest he is earning from both banks combined? 160 plus 120, 280. So on the total amount of 6,000, so total principal कितना है हमारा? Total principal है 4,000 plus 2,000, 6,000. So total 6,000. How much is earning on the total of 6,000? 280 rupees. So using this we will calculate the rate of interest earned. 280 is the simple interest earned on a principal of 6,000 in 1 year. Then what is the rate percent? This is the average rate percent from both banks combined at the end of the first year. So cancel zeros. R equal to 280 by 60. 6 into 4 is 24. 4 is left 0.40. 6 into 6 is 36. Again 4. So 4.66%. What is the rate percent? 4.66%. This is how we are calculating here. Simple interest for bank A, simple interest for bank B. Total simple interest कितना है? Total principal कितना है? What is the total simple interest? 280. And what is the total principal? 6,000 rupees. Taking 280 as the simple interest and taking 6,000 as the principal for 1 year, what will be the effective rate percent? Right? That is what we have done. Now what we will do is we will see what is the direct formula for this question. Okay, because again we want to save time. 3-4 steps not very good, because we have to solve question within 25-30 seconds itself. So for the same question, direct formula is there, please note down. How to find out rate percent directly in such a situation where P1 is the principal at R1% and P2 is the principal for at R2%. What is R? P1 R1 plus P2 R2 by P1 plus P2. Let us see how it will make the question easy for you. 4,000 into 4 plus 2,000 into 6 by 4,000 plus 2,000, 6,000, correct? So here we can say 1000 cancelled, everywhere 1000 is there. 16 plus 12 28, 4 plus 2 6, answer is 4.66%. You see why I am telling you to note down formulas, because that is the demand of the examination, that is the demand of the competition that we are facing today, right, where we cannot depend on longer methods, 3 4 5 steps, that is not going to work out, right. You must note down, have carefully in a notebook all the example questions with what is the best way of solving that question. Keep revising and using those techniques while solving questions from different study materials, whatever source of questions that you have. Alright. Now let us see another very important question from the topic of simple interest. A certain sum invested at simple rate of interest for T years. How many years we do not know, how many years? T years, amounts to rupees 500 at 8% per annum and amounts to rupees 300 at 4% per annum. Find out the sum and the number of years. So what you have to do here is to find out the principal. We have to find out what is the sum, find out the sum, that means the principal. What sum? The sum invested, the sum that you are investing, means that is your initial deposit, principal, and the number of years. So two things are there to be done in this question. What is the principal and what is the time period in terms of years? What we know is that at 8% it is, what is the amount? 500. At what rate percent? 8%. Time period we do not know. Similarly, next thing is amounts to rupees 300. What is the amount? 300. At what rate percent? 4%. Again time is same, both the cases, time is same, principal is same and time is same. In one case it is 8%, amount becomes 500, another case 4%, amount becomes 300. Now we have seen earlier the formula for principal. So principal is equal to 100 into A by 100 plus RT. This formula I have given to you. You can use this formula here to solve this question. Let us say in the first case principal is equal to 100 into A, which is 500, divided by 100 plus 8T, R is 8, time is T. And in the second case principal is equal to 100 into A, that is 300, divided by 100 plus RT, R is 4, time is T. But we are talking about the same sum, right? The same sum means that these two should be equal. These two should be equal. So we can say that 100 into 500 by 100 plus 8T, this principal should be equal to 100 into 300 by 100 plus 40. These two should be equal, correct? So you will cancel zeros, you can cancel these zeros also, correct. Now cross multiply, what do you get here? 500 plus 5 into 4, 20T is equal to 300 plus 24T. So taking T on one side, we get 4T is equal to 200, or T is equal to 50 years. So one part of the question we have solved here. T is equal to, what is the time? Time is equal to 50 years. Now how will you find out the principal? Now that you have found out the time, you can substitute this value of time in this first formula of principal or in the second formula, whichever formula you want. In whichever formula you want to substitute, you can substitute T there and you will immediately get to know what is the principal. So let us say here P is equal to 5000, 100 into 500, 50,000 divided by T is 50. So 100 plus 8 into 50, that is 50,000 divided by 100 plus 8 into 50, 400, 5,000 50,000 divided by 500, 100 plus 400, cancel zeros, and 5 will cancel 500 how many times? 100 times. So what is the principal here? The principal is equal to 100. So both questions we have solved here. What is the time period? 50 years. What is the principal? 100. Right? So principal of 100 becomes 500 at 8% after 50 years, or at 4% in 50 years it becomes 300. So answer we have obtained. If you want, you can also use answer options for solving this, but sometimes that can be more time taking than using the normal technique. Okay. Now I will give you the direct formula for this question, because here you see that lot of calculation was there. You can see on the screen itself 4, 5, 6 steps. This itself is a faster way. The one I have used on the screen here, that I am showing on the screen itself, is a faster way, because I am using the direct formula of principal. Principal is equal to 100A by 100 plus RT. If I go back to using the formula of simple interest PTR by 100, this will become a 2-minute question. And remember, you have to solve this question within 25-30 seconds itself. Now you see, if you know these two formulas here, very important, because this is a typical question, important question. If you know these two formulas, you can solve this question within 20 seconds itself. What is principal equal to? Principal is equal to A2 R1. What is A1 here? A1 is 500, R1 is 8, and A2 is 300, and R2 is 4. A1 and A2 stand for amount in the first case and second case, and R1 and R2 the rate in first and second case. So what is P? P is equal to A2 R1 300 into 8 minus A1 R2 500 into R2, which is 4, by R1 minus R2 8 minus 4. You see, 2400 minus 2400 by 4, which is equal to 100. You see now why I am saying this is so important. If you know this formula, you are getting the answer within seconds. How much time did I take here? Just 8 to 10 seconds. Less than that you will solve. You know, where I am explaining here, writing down all of these things. Directly you will put the values and get the answer. And similarly, time is equal to A1 minus A2, 500 minus 300 upon A2 R1 minus A1 R2, 8 into 300 minus 500 into 4 into 100, that is 200 by 400 into 100, half. What is the answer? 50 years. Just 2 steps and we will get both the principal as well as the time. इसलिए ये इतना important है. आप देखिए, if you see the previous slide, if you see how much time we have spent, and look at this slide, how much time we have spent, lot of differences there. Something that by using the formula of simple interest as PTR by 100 would take 2 minutes, with the formula of P is equal to 100A by 100 plus RT would take around 50 seconds, 40 seconds. This would take around 20 seconds itself. That is why we are talking about the best techniques for solving questions, not just any technique, the best technique for solving questions from any topic. Now we will see the next variety of question from simple interest. The interest on a sum deposited at simple rate of interest for 2 years increases by rupees 84 if the rate of interest per annum is increased by 4%. What we know is 2 years. Time is given to us. Time is 2 years. We don't know what is the interest, we don't know what is the principal. We just know that the interest increases by 84 if rate increases by 4%. So in the first case T is 2 years, R percent rate, principal is P. Second case also T is 2 years. In 2 years itself, you know, rate percent is increasing by 4, R plus 4. Principal remains same and the difference is 84 rupees. So using the formula of simple interest PTR by 100, if we have to solve this, we will say okay, principal into time 2 years into R plus 4 by 100, this is 84 rupees more than principal into 2 years into rate by 100. This difference is how much? 84 rupees. So we can take P by 200 common, 2P by 100 common, because we have 2P and 2P and 100 here, and what we get here, R plus 4 minus R equals 84, minus R plus R gets cancelled, 8P, 4 into 2P, 8P by 100 is equal to 84. So P is equal to 8400 by 8, 8 into 1050, correct, 8 into 1050, 8 into 540, 8 into 18. So what is the principal? 1050. Now for this also there is a direct formula. Again, you see, for every type of question, what is the best way? Change in simple interest is equal to P into T into change in rate by 100. This is what you need to know. It does not matter if the simple interest is increasing or decreasing. If rate is changing by delta R, increasing or decreasing by 2%, 3%, 4%, and because of that interest is increasing or decreasing, we can directly say delta SI, change in simple interest, is equal to P into T into change in R by 100. Change in simple interest we know is 84, principal we do not know, time is 2 years, rate in change in rate is 4% by 100. So you see, directly we are getting P equal to 8400 by 81050. Clear? So you see the benefit: less time, less number of steps, and when you have less number of steps, less calculation, your accuracy will also improve, because remember that in exams we have -1/4 for each question that you do wrong. इसलिए हर क्वेश्चन का आप डायरेक्ट फॉर्मूला नोट करिए, एग्जाम्पल पर उसको बेसिक तरीके से समझिए, इसलिए मैंने हर क्वेश्चन को दोनों तरीके से सॉल्व किया है. For every question I have discussed the basic concept as well as direct technique. So concept building should also be there, and speed technique or speed development should also be there, so that you can solve questions which are tricky and also solve questions within the given time in the examination. Okay. So now is the time for the class practice pack. From simple interest I have selected 10 questions for you that give you a good revision of all of these question types that I have discussed in this video session. Those who have passport access can start solving the questions once you hear the sound, and I will be discussing the questions that most of you get wrong in my next video session. So best of luck to you, and thank you.